Tēnā koutou katoa. My name is Professor Tony Blakely, Chair of Phase 1 of Te Tera Arai Urata, the Royal Commission of Inquiry into COVID-19 Lessons Learned. I'm joined by my fellow Commissioners John Whitehead and Grant Illingworth KC. Phase 1 of the COVID-19 inquiry is now complete. Over the last 22 months, myself, John, former Commissioner Hekia Parata, and more recently Grant, along with the Secretariat team, have worked hard to produce a report that identifies the lessons from Aotearoa New Zealand's COVID-19 response that will prepare us for future pandemics.
We've held nearly 400 meetings with over 1,600 individuals and more than 250 organisations. We've gathered over 133,000 pages of evidence and received nearly 13,000 submissions from members of the public. We have read and processed hundreds of research papers and reports from around the world. We have heard a broad range of perspectives, experiences and evidence, including everyone from advocacy groups, arts and culture leaders, faith-based leaders, community organisations and vulnerable groups, through to health and economics experts, businesses, education providers, the financial sector, government agencies, key decision makers, media, Pacifica and ethnic community leaders, the hospitality and tourism sector, rural communities, iwi and Māori, and many more. Thank you to everyone who contributed to Phase 1 of the inquiry. We are honoured to have had so many people contribute their time, expertise and insights to the inquiry's work.
The COVID-19 pandemic impacted all of us, and we know that sharing COVID-19 experiences wasn't always easy. We are immensely grateful to everyone who has spoken with us. Our report is intended to identify the lessons that can be learned from Aotearoa New Zealand's COVID-19 pandemic response. It looks at the actions of the government, including the use of lockdowns, border restrictions, vaccines, and mandates, among many other measures. We have investigated the response of the health system, including how day-to-day healthcare and COVID-19 related healthcare was managed.
We have considered the economic and social impacts of the pandemic and the government's response to these challenges, including everything from the wage subsidy scheme and access to food to the delivery of education and the impacts on social cohesion. We have looked at the government's communication, engagement and decision making. We have considered the interests of Māori and how the pandemic impacted different communities.
Based on the lessons we have identified, we have provided recommendations to the government on how Aotearoa New Zealand can be better prepared for future pandemics. Our recommendations call for action across many areas of government before, during and after future pandemics.
They cover the development of new plans and proposed new functions, relationship building across government, advice and decision making, and supporting the health, economic, social and justice sectors to ensure they are equipped to face any future pandemics or other significant national emergencies. They are designed to support coordinated, collaborative and efficient preparation and decision making for Aotearoa New Zealand, no matter what the next pandemic or emergency looks like.
Unfortunately, we will have more pandemics in the future. We do not know exactly when or what the virus will be like next time. But we can determine more or less the types of scenarios we will confront and what types of response will likely be best, and then invest now accordingly and cost effectively. We can be more prepared. To us, this is the most important lesson and action point from our inquiry.
Aotearoa New Zealand did well during the COVID-19 pandemic. We had one of the lowest death rates from COVID-19 in the world, and in 2020 to 2021, one of the least impacted economies. But the cost was still high, and the tail of that cost is long. Now is the time to ensure we take what we learned from COVID-19 to help ensure our response to any future pandemic is even better.
Our report has looked back honestly and scrupulously to enable us to move forward and ensure we are as prepared as we can be for the challenges that may await us. Thank you again to everyone who contributed to this important mahi. It has been an honour and a privilege to serve as Commissioners for Phase 1. I would now like to invite Grant Illingworth KC to give an update on Phase 2 of the inquiry.
Tēnā koutou katoa. My name is Grant Illingworth KC, and I am serving as Chair of Phase 2 of the Royal Commission of Inquiry. Joining me as Commissioners are Judy Kavanagh and Anthony Hill. Judy is an economics expert. She spent many years at the Productivity Commission. She was more recently part of the Infrastructure Commission, and she is a well-recognised figure in academia. Anthony is an experienced barrister with extensive experience in the public health sector, including serving as the Health and Disability Commissioner. We are joined by Helen Potiki as Executive Director. Helen has many years of experience in government leadership, most recently as the Executive Director for the Royal Commission of Inquiry into Abuse in Care. We have been hard at work planning the work of Phase 2 since late September. Phase 2 will consider the use of vaccines in relation to COVID-19, particularly mandates, approvals and safety, the lockdowns of late 2021, and the procurement, development and distribution of non-vaccine technologies. We have been asked to consider the process by which key decisions on those topics were made, and the economic and social impacts of those decisions. Some of these topics are new, while others will be looked at in more detail following the work of Phase 1. Phase 2 can start gathering evidence from the 29th of November 2024, and we are due to produce our final report in February 2026. We look forward to updating you soon on how the second phase of the inquiry will operate and how New Zealanders can contribute. Thank you to the Phase 1 team for their hard work. We look forward to continuing that work to ensure Aotearoa New Zealand is as prepared as possible for any future pandemics.